Hello and welcome to this webinar entitled The World's Greatest Business Card. We're happy you made it to the call and looking forward to sharing all about what the world's greatest business card is, why you need one, and how to get it done. My name is Cameron Love. I am honored to have two well-known book experts on the call today. Co-hosting with me today is Stephen E. Stephen E. is an undisputed leader in the publishing industry. In a few short years, Stephen E. sold more books than 99% of people on the planet. Stephen E. created over $60 million in the publishing world. Over 100 companies are using his Be in a Book with a Celebrity Author paid anthology concept. He has spent over 24,000 hours going inwards in meditation. Stephen E. believes that all the answers are within. Stephen E. is here to serve you and support you with getting your book out and into the world. And our guest today, the one who created the world's greatest business card, is none other than Keith Leon. Keith Leon is a multiple best-selling author, owns a successful publishing company, and he's a book mentor. His company has been serving authors for over 13 years. Keith is well known as the Book Guy. He has appeared on many popular radio and television broadcasts, and his work has been covered by LA Weekly, The Valley Reporter, The Huffington Post, and Succeed Magazine, just to name a few. He has helped thousands of people to write and market their books through radio media tours, Amazon bestseller campaigns, and New York Times bestseller campaigns, and he's a contributing author in way too many books to mention on this call. Keith has spoken at events that included Jack Canfield, John DeMartini, Neil Donald Walsh, Barbara DeAngelis, John Gray, Michael Beckwith, and Marianne Williamson. Keith's passion is teaching people how to go from first thought to bestseller and to create what he calls the world's greatest business card. Please help me welcome to the call Keith Leon.
Hello, thanks for having me. How you guys doing today?
We're doing awesome.
Good. Hey, Keith, what was your first book that you ever wrote?
Okay, the first book I wrote was with my wife, Mara, and it was called The 7 Steps to Successful Relationships. And we were well-known relationship experts for some time, but it wasn't always that way. We actually got John Gray, author of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, to endorse our book. Now, Stephen and Cameron, imagine having the #1 selling relationship author of all time endorsing you on the front cover of your relationship book. You would think that would be a game changer, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Right? You would think it was, but it wasn't. No, we thought that
really?
Because we had his endorsement, because we had his endorsement, that the books would fly off the shelves. But the bad news was I didn't know anything about marketing then. I didn't know that a book was my credibility. I didn't know it could help me get on large stages or get me free press, get me on national TV or radio shows. And unfortunately, I didn't know that book was my business card either. I just thought that it would fly off the shelves by itself, and I really couldn't have been more wrong about that.
Gotcha. Wow. Keith, I know you've written many books. I'd love to hear about your first international bestseller titled, Who Do You Think You Are? So we can set the stage and understand why people call you the Book Guy.
Gotcha. Well, that book changed my life forever. My wife and I, we had just completed 2 projects that appeared to be failures, and one of them being the 7 Steps. Now, right, we know now that there are no failures, just important lessons, and it's what we do with those lessons that counts. However, my wife was completely devastated by these 2 projects not taking off the way we thought they would, and she wanted some time to recover. And I wanted to do what one of my mentors calls fail forward fast. And what that means is just keep moving forward. So I told my wife I would love to run the company while she recovered, and all I really needed was the best book title that I've ever heard. Right? Now, I know that's a tall order, but she is really, really good at book titles. So about a minute and a half later, she looks at me and she says, "Who do you think you are?" And I, of course, said, "What? What did I do?" Right? What did I do? She said, "No, that's the name of the book, silly." And so I was off and running. So I had the title, "Who Do You Think You Are?" But I didn't know yet what the book would be about. So I tried something completely different than what my wife and I had done in the past. Instead of making it a thinking process or a process that came from my head, I actually sat down and I asked, God, Spirit, universe, inner guidance, whatever you like to call it, fill in the blank. I asked, what will this book be about? And I had a vision came to me, and I remembered when I was in my 20s. And during that time, I did an extensive search. I was looking for my purpose, and I thought that I could find outside of me from some source what my purpose would be. So I went to every church, I went to every synagogue, every mosque. If there was somebody standing on a soapbox in a park, I was there listening because I thought that they could give me my purpose. And I realized now, when I was sitting there meditating, that I actually knew some of the people that I wished that back then I could pick their brains, right? I had wished back in my 20s that I could sit down in front of all the greatest minds and the best-selling authors and the marketers and all the people that I felt were living their purpose in life, and I wished I could pick their brain and ask them 3 questions, like how did they discover their purpose, and what event or series of events led to that discovery, and then what would they tell me about my purpose? So I had it. Who do you think you are? Discover the purpose of your life. So I tried something completely different, again, than the way that my wife and I had done everything. And each morning I'd put aside my to-do list, and I would just go within and I would ask for my next steps. I would say, what's next? And I wouldn't move until I got an answer to the question I asked. So I did the whole project like that, and the outcome was completely different. The outcome was a huge international bestseller. Now I'm speaking on the largest stages in the world, and my business tripled as soon as I started using my book as my business card. So over time, I developed a very specific way of handing the book out as my business card, and as soon as I started doing that, using my book as my business card, my business tripled. It increased by 300%. So this is something that I teach every day to other business owners and coaches and doctors and lawyers, entrepreneurs, and everybody who uses that process exactly the way that I teach it, no deviation. If they do it exactly the way that I teach it, then their company increases by 300% the next year.
So Keith, this is Stephen E. That is very powerful. Is that how you came up with the world's best business card? Because the book changed your life, it changed your business. Is that why you came up with that?
Yeah, because it really is the world's greatest business card. Nobody really. When's the last time you did business off of a piece of paper, right? So it's the best business card that you can have, and especially if you do it the way that I teach you.
I get it.
Awesome, Keith. What advice would you give the people who have the voice in their head that says, "I can't write a book," or "Who wants to hear what I have to say?"
I would say what you have to share matters. It matters to anyone who hasn't experienced what you have or doesn't have the knowledge that you have. It matters to your friends and family. It matters, in many cases, to your business. Let's say you had 100 books on the same subject. No 2 books will be the same. No one will say it the same way that you would, and the person actually who's supposed to have your book, they're going to be drawn to your book instead of those other ones, and then they will have it land in their hand at the most perfect time. I have found that to be the truth over the years. Also, I would say, think about your why. Why do you want to write this book? Whom will it serve? How will they benefit? What is your why? That's perhaps the most important question that you'll ever answer. What is your why? And once you have that, if it's a strong enough reason, and you know that your book will serve these people, and you can imagine them, and you can see them in your mind, and you have the very thing that will keep you moving forward, that will keep you showing up to your chapter calls with our company. It'll keep you moving forward on your book. So your why is really important. And then there's the most important piece of all. And for this, I have to share a story with you. This is a story about a woman I met years ago. Her name is Beloved. I was at a Brendan Bouchard event years ago. I mailed out for him and provided a bonus for his joint venture book launch for his first book. So he invited my wife and I to come as a VIP to his event. And on one of the breaks, one of my fans of the book came up, and she recognized me, and she said, "Oh, do you have a copy of the book? I want to get a copy of the book for my sister as a gift." And because I have them with me, because of my business card, I said, "Yeah, I have it in my car. I'll go out and get you a copy." So I went out to the trunk of my car, got her a copy, and I was headed back into the event, and this lady just looks at me and she goes, "That book changed my life." And she pointed to the book that I had in my hands. And I just stopped and I said, "Really, it did? Can you tell me more about that?" She said, "Yeah. I was on Bob Proctor's email list, and I got an email, and Bob said, 'Hey, I'm in this great book, and you should buy it, and it's only $24.95. You get $8,000 worth of free stuff.' So I was like, it's a no-brainer. So I got the book, and I read it, and it seemed like at least 10 of the stories that were in that book, 10 of the interviews were just for me. They were just for me, and they just landed so hard, and I really discovered my purpose, which is exactly what the book said it would do. And since I've discovered that, I built a website, and I developed a program around it, and now I have a thriving business, and my whole life changed because of that book." And she goes, "Did you get it here?" And I said, "No, I didn't. And she goes, "Well, if you didn't get it here, then why do you have it in your hands?" And I looked down, and my name tag had flipped over, so you couldn't read my name that I had on. So I slowly reached down, and I turned around my name tag, and she just stepped back like 5 feet, and her eyes started to well up because she realized that she had just bared her testimony, told her story, right, to the author of the book that had completely changed her life.
Oh,
yeah, it was so powerful. And so I looked at her with tears in my eyes, and I said, "That right there, that moment is the reason that I did this book. And right now in this moment, it's worth every speed bump that I had to endure. It's worth every day that I didn't feel like writing. It's worth everything right now, just because you shared that with me. And to this day, we're still friends. And Beloved is an incredible woman. And so that is the power of what can happen for you by creating a book about what you know and sharing your heart.
Thank you very much. That is very
yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah, Keith, this is Stephen E. again. I have a question. You say that the book's the world's greatest business card. If anybody listening on this call, I'm sure there's all different types of people listening. I mean, how could they really benefit, and what are they going to get out of writing a book for their business card?
Yeah. Well, I really want to share that, but really quick, I just want to share how my business and my life has changed by being a published author. Because it just really has. I used my book as a platform to create and to manifest everything that I have dreamed of doing. I wanted to have actual clients. I say actual clients because I didn't have many right before I wrote that book. And so I started using my book as my business card, and the business just blew up. I wanted to speak in larger rooms. My wife Mara and I, as I told you, when we were relationship experts, we were speaking in front of 50 people, right? So I wanted to be in front of larger rooms, and having a best-selling book helped me do that. And since then, I've been able to speak on some of the largest stages in the world, including sharing the stage with Jack Canfield, like Cameron was saying, Barbara DeAngelis, John Gray, T. Harv Eker, the list goes on and on. So having a book opens doors that would not otherwise be open for you. So I just want to be clear about that. Every event coordinator out there, the first question she's going to ask you, what's the name of your book? Every national TV segment producer, radio segment producer, same question, what's the name of your book? I wanted to be able to get free press, and having a best-selling book did that. It got me on radio and TV and newspaper. It got me in e-zine articles, newsletters, webinars, telesummits like webinars like this one, and blog talk radio shows, and even more. I wanted, what else? I wanted credibility and respect from peers and clients. And I'm here to tell you that nothing gives you more credibility than having a book and being a doer. And nothing says I am a doer like being a published author, right? Because you have a book instead of being the one who's saying, someday I'm going to write a book, right? How many times have you heard that? Someday I'm going to write a book. Well, go get your calendar, open it up, and I guarantee no matter what calendar you have, there's not a day that's called someday in that calendar. So nothing impresses a potential client more than having a book that's about what you do and addresses questions like why you do what you do, or how you do it, and more importantly, the place and the space that you do it from. Put that in your book and let people connect with that, and your business, your life will change forever. Doing the Who Do You Think You Are book, when I was telling you it changed my life, I learned from the top authors and marketers in the world. I mean, they took me under their wing, taught me everything they knew, and I went from being Keith Who to being the book guy in a short period of time. And if that doesn't speak to how my business has changed since I became an author, nothing will. In 9 months, I went from someone that few people knew about to one of the top book experts in the country. My business did a complete about-face in 9 months' time, and this is what's possible when you have a book. When you set up a launch campaign and you've hooked up with top experts who know exactly how to teach you to use your book to leverage and build your brand. We do all of that. I was one of the first people to be honest and to teach people that a book is not where the money is made. Let me say that again. A book is not where the money is made. It's everything after the book. That's where the money is made. They read the book. They want more. They come to your site for more. What do you have for them when they get there? When you set that up right, you have something for them on your site, and not only do you have something for them to continue to work with you, but you have something at every price point. You do that, and your business will skyrocket. Your return on investment will return quickly. Your business will thrive, and all of this starts with the book. The book is first. And while the book is in editing, that's the perfect time to set everything else up. Setting up everything with perfect timing is the key, and you do that right, and then you'll see your return on investment very quickly. So if I could give 3 tips, right? Or what was the question you asked me before? I just had to get that in there. It was
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, say if somebody's a dentist or a chiropractor, or they run a business, what kind of benefits can they get? Maybe they don't want to be a speaker, but how's that book going to really enhance their business? Can it help anybody with a business? Do you believe that? Mm-hmm. I mean, you're calling the world's best, greatest business card, so maybe somebody doesn't want to get on stage, but they want more clients to come into their their chiropractic office, or they want more clients to come into, their, maybe sell more cars or do anything. How could that book really enhance anybody? Do you believe that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll just kind of start by asking everybody who's listening to the call, let me ask you 3 questions. Do you have something that if you shared it with others, it would inspire them or help them to make money in their business? Yes? How many of you have a hard time explaining what you do for your business in just 10 seconds? I know I did. And wouldn't you love to have a tool that would do that for you and help you grow your business by up to 300%? Of course you would. But we only have 10 seconds to catch the attention and the interest of a potential client standing in front of us. There's so much media. There's so much coming at people. We really only have their attention for 10 seconds. So how could you ever explain what you do or how you do it, or more importantly, like I was talking about earlier, why you do what you do? How could you do that in 10 seconds? I used to talk people into boredom, right? I used to talk people into boredom when they asked me, what do you do for a living? Are you guilty of this? Anybody listening? Raise your hand. It's okay. Are you guilty? Right? You're not alone if you answered yes. Every time that I speak at a live event, I start with a demonstration. I'll call up a volunteer, and they'll come up and I say, okay, in a moment, I'm going to have you close your eyes and put out your hands. And then I'm going to put in your hands 2 business cards. One will be the most impressive business card, and one will be the least. When I tell you, I want you to drop the least impressive business card to the floor. So I have them close their eyes, they put out their hands, I put in a book in one hand and a piece of paper, a little teeny tiny piece of paper business card in the other hand. And then with their eyes closed, I say, okay, drop the least impressive. Every time they drop the little teeny tiny piece of paper to the floor, and they hold onto the book with their eyes closed. Right? That's with their eyes closed. So that I go, I know this is going a long way to prove a point, but the point is, and then I reach down and pick up the little teeny tiny piece of paper, and I say, this just doesn't work anymore. How could a teeny tiny little piece of paper begin to explain what you do and why you do it, which is the most important piece? And then I show people how I used to talk to people about my business, and then I show them how I do it now. Since I started using my book as a business card in this specific way that I teach people, my business tripled almost immediately, like I said before. I wasn't putting people to sleep anymore, right? I'm lasered in my answer to the question, what do you do? And now I had a credibility piece, which is my book, and I give it to them using a very specific language with an offer that is so enticing, so high in value, that one of 2 things will happen. Either they'll read the book, they'll like me and they'll call me to do business, or they'll go home and they'll just throw the book on the table. And then every time they pass that book and they see it, it will nag them incessantly until they call me and take me up on that free offer that I told them about. It works for me. It works for everyone who's done it in the exact way that I teach it, and it'll work for you too. Truly, there is no business card that has the effect that a book does. It's replaced that teeny tiny piece of paper that everyone throws away. It works, and that's why I call it the world's greatest business card. Because, like, when's the last time you handed somebody a teeny tiny piece of paper and they ask you to sign it, right? Or they like, I had a couple women have kissed me when I gave them my business card. When's the last time that happened, right? So it's like you just handed them something that has a perceived value of $20, like it was nothing, right? Clearly, you're a doer because you have a book. You're not still talking about doing a book. You have a book. And then I'm either going to read it and like you and call you, or throw it on the table and it's going to harass me till I call you. So that's why I call it the world's greatest business card, because it truly is the best card you could have.
Awesome. Keith, I got one more question for you. If you could give 3 tips or pieces of advice to an aspiring writer, what would that be?
Okay, the first tip would be always start off by doing what we call the roadmap. All of our courses, even our do-it-for-you method called You Speak It, starts with this process. You create your chapter titles. Basically, you look at the blank page and you say, what do I want to talk about in this book? And you write down a short description of all the things you want to share, and those are your chapter titles. Don't bullet point them or go into any detail. Just write the chapter titles. And once you have those on the page, then you look at the page and you say, that's it. That's all I want to share in this book. Then next you're going to just look at the titles and ask out loud, who wants to go first? And I know this process sounds silly, but it just works. You say, who wants to go first? And one of the titles will jump out at you, and you'll put a 1 next to that. And then you'll say, who wants to go next? And then the next one will kind of jump out, and you'll put a 2 next to that. And you'll repeat that process until you have a number next to all of them. Then you transfer them to another piece of paper in order, and write roadmap on the top of the sheet. Now, you'll start your writing with the chapter that feels the easiest to you. And also, you'll want to complete a chapter before moving on to another. And then you just cross them off as you go. Always be writing the one that feels the easiest for you, and you're ready to write, and you rinse and you repeat until you come to get a chapter and you realize they're already done. Of course, this is if you have time to write a book yourself. If you're busy like me, you'll need some support, which leads right into tip number 2. Tip number 2, get the support of someone who will hold you accountable for your writing commitments. Someone you will absolutely keep your word to no matter what, or just hire us to do it for you. Your commitment of time in our program is 7 phone calls. So it's just 7 phone calls, and then we write your whole book for you. So that's the easiest way, I know. But if you are going to do it alone, then you're going to write the book yourself, then you're going to need somebody to make commitments to, someone that will hold you to those commitments. And then I really want you to hear this one. This is so important. You'll need to make your writing time and yourself just as important as your paying clients and your family. So I'll repeat that. You need to make yourself, your writing time, just as important as your paying clients and your family. Because without that type of commitment to yourself, to your mission, to your message, to your why that we talked about earlier, and without someone who's going to take you to task if you don't keep your word, without that level of commitment, then you'll probably be writing your book for years, and you may very well be the person that never completes their book. Because writing it's like a habit, right? It's like smoking or other habits. You just have to do it so much for so long that you just don't think about it anymore. You just do it out of habit, right? So if you're not ready for all that, work with us. We'll do your whole book for you for the price that people are paying for just 1 chapter in a compilation book. The last tip number 3, get out of your head and into your heart. I'll repeat it. Get out of your head and into your heart. No matter what the subject is of your book, if you're in your head while you're writing it, then you're going to put people to sleep. People love to feel. They love to feel when they read. They love personal stories. They'll appreciate your personal stories about your experiences. And when you're willing to share your stuff from a vulnerable, truthful place, that's the book that people read and they can't put it down. The book you can put down is one that was either written from the headspace or it was edited to death until it didn't have the author's voice any longer in the book. So get out of your head and into your heart. And we have a specific process we teach in the You Speak It program that helps you do that.
Thank you.
Great. Hey, Keith, this is Stephen E. again. I have one little story to share, too, for using that book as a business card. A while back, I opened a health club, and I wanted to market the health club because health clubs are ran on residual income of getting members into the club. So what I did is I hired a bunch of kids to actually knock on doors in the neighborhood and hand them a book of mine. And in the book, it had a week free pass to come into the club. And I told the kids, if somebody's not home, just leave that book on their doorstep. And I'm not kidding. My phone rang off the hook time after time saying, hey, I have your book on the doorstep. Do I need to come down and pay you for that? And what was great about it, I had so many people coming into that health club signing up because I left a book on their doorstep. And that's exactly the truth, because if I just left a flyer on their doorstep or handed them a flyer, it would have went into the trash can. Most people don't burn or throw away books. They just keep the books. So I filled up that health club so fast, putting the books on the doorsteps or actually giving it to people. One last story is that the same lady, a kid handed a book to at the doorstep. She looked at the book, and it was one of my books I had, I believe, John Asheroff and Mark Victor Hansen, and I think Michael Beckwith was in it. And she loved the name John Asheroff. And she's like, oh, my gosh, I need to come down and meet this Stephen E. Is he there? And anyway, she comes down. I wasn't at the club, but she ended up signing up for the club. And our club membership was $59 a month. And then she met my massage therapist, and she signed up for $900 for 10 sessions for that. And then I came in the club like a week later while she's a member, and she says, I love this club. Are you looking for any other investors? And I said, hey, well, why don't we go out for coffee? And then from there, she and her husband wrote me a $50,000 check to invest into that club. So a book led to all that and filled up the whole health club too. So I thought that is so powerful. And and that's why I've been so jazzed about helping people with books. And I am so happy that just recently that you called me and you mentioned you speak it for your book program, because I've been helping individuals write books, and it takes a lot of time and effort with all the editing and going through all that process. And when you told me about all you needed to do is get a client on the phone with 7 interviews, and from there you'll do the rest, I was just shocked. And then I was charging $17,500 for having people get their book out. And once you told me the price, what you could do it for, I was even more shocked. And I am so happy that I'm working with this program, because I really feel that most people are busy with their business. They're not writers. And with your program where you just have 7 interviews and you knock the book out, you write it, and you send the book to their doorstep, I mean, I think it's the best thing ever. So I just wanted to say that is awesome, and I'm so happy to, be part of this. And could you tell a little bit more about that whole process, how that works, and how can they get a hold of us? And, what is the 7 interviews? I mean, I like you to really get that, because when people get that, especially if you're a business person, you're going to do the program. It makes so much sense.
Got it. Well, first of all, we're Baby Pie Publishing. That's the name of my company. Also, You Speak It Books and Leon Smith Publishing. So we have 3 stamps, and whichever one fits best for you, that's available. We're a full-service traditional publishing house. I've been in business for over 13 years. Important for you to know, we're not a vanity publisher. We publish books that make a difference in the world, and people have to submit to be accepted in order to be published by us. However, we don't accept random submissions. Most of our authors we've published have worked with us either from the beginning or at least from the stages of editing, layout, and cover. At our company, our core value is relationships. So we develop relationships with authors by working with you to get your book done quickly and easily. We produce a top-shelf professional book that you'll be proud of. You'll be proud to hand somebody. So whether you need book writing support, editing, layout, book cover, you want to do an Amazon book launch, you want a New York Times bestseller, a media tour, whatever you need, we have that for you. The program that Stephen is talking about is the You Speak It program. We used to focus years ago to write their books themselves, and over the years what I found was that most of the authors, friends and clients, they're busy, providing a service to the world and doing good work, and they didn't really have time to write a book themselves. And even if they had the time, then they didn't know how to do it. They thought it'd be too hard. They thought it would cost too much money. And all these reasons ended up taking them out before they even started writing. It took them out and making it so that the idea for their book just sat in their mind and it never got written. So next we started doing ghostwriting for people, and we were doing it like everyone else. I like to call it now the hard way. We'd do the roadmap process that I taught you, and then we'd have people come and we'd just turn on the recorder and let the author speak, and then we would take those recordings or something the author had already written, or random thoughts collected on tape, or post-it notes, bullet points. We'd take all that and we'd try to turn all of those things into a book for clients. So it's totally doable, but it's really expensive to do it that way, because for an editor to sort out all of that material, to make sense of it, is a very pricey thing, because they're very high-skilled people and they get paid well, editors. So we did that for years, and we did it well, but what we found was that most of the people who really needed the service couldn't afford it. And so when we got clear that that was true, that didn't really work for us, my wife and I, because we want to be of service and we want to support everyone to get their book done with grace and ease. So we decided that we were going to go back to the drawing board, and with this question in mind, how can we make this process easy and at a price point that anybody can do it? So my wife and I together, we created the You Speak It method. It's a process that allows you to speak your book. A lot of people do that, right? Speak your book. You've heard of those programs. But what we found out over the years is that it's how the information is gathered from you, the author, that means everything to the process. That part of the process needs to feel easy to you, and that also needs to be easy for the transcription, and for the editors, for the layout artists, the cover artists, for everybody behind this, and to everyone involved. So the method of which we get the information from you is the part that's proprietary, that nobody has. We're doing it in a completely different way that really brings ease and grace into the process. It's like 7 phone calls, and at the end of the last phone call, very conversational, like conversation we're having, right? At the end of the 7th phone call, we say, okay, we have everything we need. We'll be back to you with the first draft, to which everybody says, wait, what? What just happened? Right? What? And so it's just an amazing process that we've come up with. It brings ease and grace to the process, and as long as you're willing to let it be easy, that's how it will be. So that's really your only job. You show up with an idea of what you'd like your book to be, and then you just allow the process to be easy. That's your job, and we do everything else. The You Speak It book program includes everything. There's no hidden charges, no minimum book order. Everything's included. The value of that program is $13,420, which you, Stephen, what you're talking about, what you charged, that was already a great deal. But the program investment today for this program is just $99.95. Plus, we'll give you $420 in bonuses if you decide to do it today. If you do our one payment plan, it'll be $500. So the You Speak It book program includes, and this is the part you asked for, Stephen, it includes the roadmap call, which is where we brainstorm your 5 strongest book chapter titles, really all of the book content. Everything in the book will be clear on that call, but by the end of the call we know exactly what we're doing. And then we get together and we record your chapters in that very proprietary and way that I told you about, with ease and grace in the process. We do all of the chapter recordings, and once we've completed all the chapters, then it goes to the transcriptionist, and she transcribes everything as you spoke it exactly. Then you get to look at that, make any changes in spelling, any errors that were made. You get to clean that up, and then after that it goes to editing. And here's what I want you to know. Our editors, their whole, the key thing that they're going to do is they're going to create a book that has your voice still in the book when it comes out the other end. So all of our editors had to be retrained to keep the author's voice. So you'll recognize everything that you said, only it's going to sound like a book now instead of a transcribed recording. So the editors do their genius, what they do. Then it goes into proofreading. It also includes the interior design. Some people call it book layout, same thing. Includes the cover design, so the book cover. And also we're going to set you up on Amazon. That can be a lot of fun to do. We're going to go ahead and do that for you. Get your book up for sale on Amazon. We'll give you the UPC barcode on the back of the book. And it also includes your first 20 books delivered to your doorstep. And while you have those 20 books and you're giving them out to your friends and family, that allows you to decide how many books that you would like to have on hand and to get those at wholesale, however many you would like. And that's where we're able to save money as well. So most companies, they have a minimum order for books. Pre-order 1,500 to 3,500 books, and that's where people really make their money, selling you those books. We don't do that. You get your first 20 books delivered, and then you order as many as you'd like to have on hand. Whether it's 10 or 200, it's going to be the same price. So the book we're talking about, The World's Greatest Business Card, is 15,000 to 25,000 word manuscript. That's going to come out to 120 to 140 pages, 5 1/4 by 8. And what we've learned over the years, that is the perfect size to give somebody as a business card because it doesn't feel like a huge commitment. Right? If you hand them a 6 by 9, 300-page book, they're like, they don't want to read that, right? But if you hand them this size book, it still feels like a book, but it's not too much. They're not going to feel like they can't read it. Does that make sense? So 120 to 140-page book, 5 1/4 by 8. And then also I was telling you about the fast action bonuses, and this offer is good for 24 hours. You call and connect with us and decide that it's time to write your book, and we're going to give you these fast action bonuses for people that take action immediately. How to easily obtain endorsement quotes. You're going to learn from me this tool that will serve you not only for this book, but it will serve you for your business and for the rest of your life, because it's not what we say about our business, it's what other people say about our business, right? It's not what we say about our book, it's what other people say about our book. So I have learned over the years how to easily obtain endorsement quotes from well-known people, from people that you would love to have their endorsement, and you're going to get that. It has a value of $200, and it's our gift to you for the Fast Action bonus. Also, you'll get a website banner, thumbnail pictures, which are all the pictures of the front cover of your book at different sizes, and you can use those for marketing purposes, newsletters, whatever you need them for, and you're not constantly trying to size that picture yourself. Also, a one-page sales sheet about your book. Value of that is $200. And then also, because people love to get something immediately, I know I do, you'll get an instant download of our last best-selling book that's called You Make a Difference. 50 heart-centered entrepreneurs share their stories of inspiration and transformation. I sat down with 50 people that are business owners that do what they do for the right reason, and I just picked their brain for you and asked them all the questions like, how do they get through the tough times and what's been the greatest miracle they've seen in their business. It's just an incredible book. So the ebook will be sent to you immediately, instant download, and that's a value of $20. So $420 worth of bonuses for our fast action people. So quickly I want to share with you Terry Levine, who is a multiple best-selling author. She has 17 bestsellers. She came to me and told me that she had a couple different publishers were knocking down her door, and they wanted a book, but she didn't have time to write it because she was ghostwriting a book for someone else. So I told her about this program, and she said, oh, my goodness, I got to try that. And so her testimonial, Terry Levine, author and business mentoring expert, is, this is the easiest writing a book has ever been for me. She just gave me that quote, so I wanted to share it with you. Edward Chauvin, who's a chiropractor and the author of I'm Worried Sick About My Health, How to Get and Stay Healthy Without Spending a Fortune. I love that title. He says, thanks to Keith Leon, the book guy, for helping me to write this book. He took something I thought was going to be hard and made it easy. I cannot thank him enough for his mentorship and friendship. And the last testimony I want to share with you is Warren Hennington. He's the author of If I Can, You Can, Insights of an Average Man. We published him. He's a rock star. He sent me this quote. It says, I highly recommend Baby Pie Publishing and You Speak It Books publishing services. I'm grateful for all they did to assist me in getting my book written, published, and on the international bestsellers list. So if you're ready to get started, you're ready. It's time for you to create your world's greatest business card so that you can grow your business by 300% in 2016. The numbers to call are, you can call Cameron at 250-575-3380. That's Cameron, 250-575-3380. Or you can call the incredible Stephen E., a wonderful friend of mine, 562-884-0062. You can call Stephen E. at 562-884-0062. If you've listened to this call and you're thinking that a larger book would be an option, if you have the desire and the budget for that, no problem. Just mention that when you speak to Cameron and Stephen. So we are looking forward to helping you get your mission, your message, your business out to the world as soon as possible. So I just want to thank you, Cameron. Thank you, Stephen E. Thank you for everybody who showed up, because showing up is a huge piece. You showed up to this call. You made it to the end. I just want to thank you for being here and for listening. Thanks, Cameron and Stephen E., for having me on this call. This has been great.
Thank you.
That's a wrap. That's a wrap, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure, Stephen E. and Keith Leon. I really appreciate you being on the call and taking time to be here with all of us, and for sharing, your great advice, your business mentorship, and your wisdom. Thank you again, my friend. It was really wonderful.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Look forward to being of service to everybody. Have a great day.
Right on. Bye-bye.